Man, it is show time at the Apollo, guys. I hope you're ready for this. This is it feels weird calling it the show.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but this is kind of the goal of this is to kind of get this thing started. We will have a new intro video coming into the next couple weeks that Eric will be creating. He doesn't know that yet. Surprise, bro. I want to say, guys, I'm excited to be here. We're going to continue with the counting, the numbers, because we've still been going live this whole time. So this is episode what 45 for
Yeah,
us
we got
in
we
this.
got to be somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, so I think we did 44 last time, 45 this time, dude. It's absolutely crazy how much this is. It's going along. It's what happens. Like you just get up and you keep doing this every time, man. That's what we're gonna do. Well, guys, this week's show is going to be a big one. I'm excited about it. We've got Austin from Big Sky Race Week. Pause for dramatic effect there. We've got Austin from Big Sky Race Week talking about the newest national level drag and drive event. We've got Luke B from Howard's Cams going to be on. And then we got Cory Nicholson, our newest sponsor from CarChains3D. And I know that may not mean a whole lot to anybody, but he's going to kind of tell us a story of 3D printing, and he started with car keychains and kind of how that all went up from there. So I'm excited to have these guys on tonight. So it's going to be a packed show, but I've also got some, I don't know, deep thoughts, shower thoughts by Mike Narks. I'm now again helping a buddy at a body shop, so it's about a 20-minute drive. So I actually get about 20 minutes of time that I'm not focused on something at the moment. So it kind of gives my brain time to meander around. So we're going to go into some of that. And guys, let's introduce ourselves. We don't have an intro video this week, so it is kind of strange. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then while you're introducing yourself and telling all your stuff, Eric, I want to jump over and go live on Instagram as well. So, guys, my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this Dragon Drive-ish style event show you're watching. We're going to go over all kinds of stuff that we're going to talk about within the community. We've got event stuff. Anyways, so I'm a host of this. I host the Saturday morning news show that covers the same style of stuff. 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern for the news on Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern for Wednesday night show. It's going to be fun. The Wednesday night show is growing, dude. We're going to have starting next week because that's kind of what we're going to talk about this week with these guys is segments and fun stuff, especially with Howard's Cams and car chains. And then, guys, I'm a drag and drive statistician. I'm living it. I'm loving it. Well, just wait till you hear the nerdy stuff I got that I dove into the other day. And then I'm a promoter, host the circuit regional event, which is a weekend event in April at MoCan this year. I'm so excited to have that going on. Eric, introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, and I'll get this thing started on Instagram.
All right. I am Eric White. I run 815 LSX Swaps. That's my personal YouTube channel, social medias, all about LS swaps and drag and drive events. So a lot of
Mhm.
coverage on there. The YouTube channel has been growing crazy. I'm up like 300 and something in the last 28 days. So that's been awesome. Help with racer artwork for different events, Midwest Drags, Nostalgia Nights, Back to the Streets, and the circuit. Um,
Mhm.
I guess I'm helping with the circuit, so I'm
Yeah.
not the promoter, but
Let's talk about that because you're I've literally created a job title for Eric called my right hand man.
there we
So if
go.
you can't find me, you're gonna find Eric. He's gonna be the guy that's gonna know what else is going on.
That's right. And then co-host the show and the news, so
Yeah,
keep
dude.
busy with all that stuff.
Yep, it's going to be crazy. This 2024 season is going to be wild. I hope everybody is ready for what's going on. It looks like we got some race week comments. Looks like Matt may have made some notes here, or made a post. We'll have to look at. Here's what we're gonna do. So the show is going to be a little different than the typical stuff. So usually we would run over in the first part of the show. We would be talking about upcoming events and things like that. We're going to change that up a little bit. That will move to the news, and we're going to dive deep. We're going to have day counts. We're going to have kind of like what to expect at those events. We're going to dive deep into an event each week as part of that segment and go from there. So that is kind of give you some groundwork. So I see a lot of the race week comments here. I am making notes. That I saw Trevor Brandon make a comment while ago with the dates. So yeah, we are going to be very busy in September again. All right, and for the folks that have been around for a while, we have a new name, but it's actually an old name. So back in early 2022, January of 2022, actually, I created Drag Drive Repeat. So we are going back to that name because it is going to be good for the long term. That is all I'm going to say about it. If you have more questions, wait till you see me in person and we can talk about it a little more in depth there. I'm not going to put out a bunch of stuff here. But I do want to say I like this setup because it's going to give us an opportunity to do whatever we want, good or bad. It's going to be right or wrong, but it's going to be mine. So
Absolutely.
that's what matters. So essentially, what had happened was Narxoleptic Customs. I was talking about drag and drive events on there so much that I felt like we had to create a brand. That's when Drag Drive Repeat came on. You can find the website dragdriverepeat.com. I am updating it behind the scenes. Obviously, that website had not been touched in more than 2 years. So a lot of the stuff on there is old, but it is getting updated. And then I'm going full bore as Sick Week 2024 comes about. We're going to kick it off. That's going to be kind of the starting of the whole revamp of the website with all of the racer lists and things like that that we have been creating. We're going to continue that. That is part of our summit racing agreement for 2024, also with the awards, also with a world champion. So a lot of the stuff you've seen is going to stay the same. A lot of the stuff that is coming is going to blow your mind. We have a lot of stuff that's going to be a lot of fun for this year, and I hope you guys are ready, and I hope you guys will stick around with us. The one good thing about all of this is it almost creates another brand that is within the drag and drive community. So it gives you a good opportunity to see more information, see more event coverage, and just find out more about this whole community that we love. So with that, we've started a new Facebook group as well. So it's Drag Drive Repeat hashtag Race Car Friends. You can find that group on Facebook, obviously. So we're slowly growing. It's only 50 something members now. We were slow rolling it out. I will tell you, there's going to be a lot more that come. We took the other group from about 3,000 members or followers or whatever you call in a Facebook group, members, I think,
Yeah.
3,000 to almost 15,000 in about 18 months. So we're going to do that same thing with this, but better. So, you learned all this stuff last time. We're going to take it to the next level with this next one.
Got a
What you
question
got here?
here. Did anyone ever contact you guys about the possibility of a drag and drive in New York?
We have had some conversations with folks about a Northeast event, just haven't, nobody's locked in anything. I was talking with some guys about Pennsylvania the other day. I was talking to guys about New York, New Jersey, all that kind of stuff. So there's things that are in the works that are behind the scenes that are coming up, but nobody's locked in anything. We don't have track dates. We don't have anything like that.
Yeah, we've heard
And
whispers about
yeah,
something coming, but that's as much as
yeah.
we've gotten so far.
Yeah, just not quite there yet. And again, we're open to helping anybody promote anything and everything because that's all we talk about. So, all right, perfect. I see Cory Nicholson is in the back. Cory, we're going to have Austin on first, and then we're going to have Luke B. So if you want to jump in about 9 o'clock, no, sorry, 9 o'clock Eastern. That would be the best time. 9:30, maybe something like that. So, all right, cool, perfect. Moving on, guys. I want to say thank you to all of our race car friends that are out there. That's right. I'm pointing at you right there. Race car friends, we can't do this without you. This level of stress that we've been going through the last couple of weeks has been pretty intense. A lot of conversations Eric and I have had about stuff, trying to figure out what the best route forward was. And I think this is what we're going to do. I don't know if it's the best route, but this is what we're going to do. So I'm thankful to Eric for being there. I'm thankful to all you guys and all your support that you've shown us over the years. Can't say thank you enough without that. Can't say thank you enough to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Mahle Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk all returned from 2023 to 2024. And our boy Cory from CarChains3D on here for 2024. I'm excited about what his involvement is going to mean because we're going to have a lot of stuff he's sponsoring a class at the circuit and he's sponsoring a segment within the news. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff a little bit later tonight. So kind of exciting there. Dude, do you want to talk about Devin Vanderhoof selling the convertible Fox body?
Man, I woke up this morning and saw that post, and that is what woke me up this morning. You wake up and your eyes are half closed and you're scrolling through Facebook, and I seen that and I was like, no way.
Dude,
Do you
I'm
think it's because he needs something that he can get in and out of a little better? Or
no, no. I think he probably wants to build something really fast. to be
Yeah,
honest with you. I think he's probably got a little bit of a taste of this, and now he wants to be out front for the whole front. So,
that's
um,
exciting. I mean, that's
oh,
that's a high quality build, so I can only imagine if he went
like
and stepped up and, did a pro mod style streetcar build. That'd
yeah,
be wild.
that car of his is next level. I can't imagine what would be next. Like, I asked in the post, just kind of being funny, is he going 850 racing? And everybody was like, no, please don't get that guy into 850 stuff. So I don't know. I mean, obviously he's going to be at Sick Week. We'll talk to him there. It's going to be a big topic of conversation. Why are you selling it? Where does this come from? What is going on, man? Why are you changing it up? But the cool thing is he's selling it as is, like how it sits.
Yeah,
So somebody can literally buy that car if they wrote a check tomorrow for $240,000. He would probably deliver it to Sick Week and run you through some tuning and things like that, getting you ready.
he might
So
even co-pilot with you.
yeah, I mean, because I don't know if they have another car, to back it up and go race. So I'm sure he still wants to make that trip. But I mean, it's the quickest radio car in drag week history. It's the quickest 235 eighth mile average in drag and drive history. Now, I mean, obviously there's not a ton of drag and drive 235 eighth mile classes, but I mean, he set the bar for sure. The level of quality of that car is over the top. It's just
Yeah,
absolutely intense. I mean, he just put air jacks on it so he can
right.
cruise around, and when he makes a stop, he can lower those down with CO2. All comes with all that. Like it's Sick Week ready and
Yeah,
just waiting on somebody to own it. So
and
it's
it's
kind of cool.
got, like he mentioned in the post, it's got every sensor you could ask for.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he said it comes with all the tunes, and like he is there to help run the program for the first year, I think he said. So
Yeah.
somebody's going to get a really good deal. I mean, I know sticker shock 240,000 seems like a lot of money, not something I could ever afford, but the people that can afford it are going to get a crazy good deal, especially having him, like he said, backing up and being able to help get that thing off the ground. I mean, you're going to instantly step into a top tier car that can go out and win classes.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely nuts to think that you can buy a 6 second proven car and just go out and be ready to go anytime, anywhere. It's going to be pretty intense. So I'm excited to see where that car goes. The last time somebody sold a really fast car was Michael Westberg selling the S10, but he shipped that back to Sweden and sold it there. So
Yeah, and that was only a roller too. That wasn't even
yeah,
a full race car, race
yep.
ready.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty wild. I hope, Devin had that car was a small block Ford for a long time, so it'd be kind of fun to see him go do something weird, do some kind of crazy powertrain in something, and kind of blow our minds. Well,
It's definitely interesting because
yep,
Hargett's bringing out a new car.
yep,
Devin's talking about building a new car. There's a
yep.
certain somebody else that might be at Sick Week that's going to have,
Oh yeah,
a
yeah. We're
crazy
we're going
car.
to talk about that here in a
Like,
second too.
like
But
there's
we should probably
potential
we
to
should probably
be
talk
some.
about that after this. So let's move those notes up. But and then Stefan Gustafson's building a new car for 2025. He's taking an old pro stock car, I think, and putting his drivetrain and stuff into that car. So that car should be 5 second capable. We're looking at Dave Schroeder and all them. They'll have their replacement car back out, and he's always said that car was capable of running those kind of times. So 2024 is going to be wild. 2025 should be even crazier.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fast cars.
Yeah, speaking
And
of fast cars,
yeah, go for
You
it.
jump in there and talk about Mr. Jeff Lutz and all
Y-
the stuff he's
Cryptic,
stirring?
yeah, his cryptic posts.
Yeah, yeah. Hope we make it. Hope we make
Yeah,
it. We're trying. We're going to be there. That's been a big flurry on Facebook the last, I don't know. I mean, probably 8 days,
yeah, I
something
think
like that.
yeah, I saw it about a week ago or something.
Yeah. It's pretty. And guys, I'm gonna fangirl big time if this happens. If you haven't heard and you've been living under a rock, Jeff Lutz has got Mad Max back out and is prepping it for what he says is Sick Week returning. and then Dragzine basically said that he's coming. So there's
Yeah.
one line in there that basically says Sick Week is going to be his, not debut, but return to Drag and Drive. But everything else was talking about getting the car ready and being there and living that part. He kind of hinted at that. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. That
With the
he
hot
hinted
rod
on the
pod.
hot rod pod that that he was going to go do that. That it never left his mind. He just couldn't make the time for it. And now they're in a winter break. Sick Week makes sense. I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I hope it happens because for the folks that have attended or participated in these, it's really hard to not do that the next time it comes around, which is what I hope will happen with him. Like he will have, he's going to do Sick Week. Let's say it doesn't go well. This is hypothetical here. Say it doesn't go well. Immediately he's going home and working on the car.
Right.
If he comes out and lays the smackdown on everybody, is he gonna go back into hiding for a little bit? I don't think so. I think it's gonna take that one time. He's gonna do it. He's gonna finish. Let's say he just finishes. Say it runs a hard week and he ends up in the eights. He's not gonna be satisfied with that, especially with
Right.
that level of car. So then he's gonna come back. Is he gonna come back for drag week? I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna follow that dude all week long. All week
Yeah.
long at peak week.
Stainless Works has been posting videos on TikTok and probably other social medias about it as well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, could could he come out the first event, take number one overall, and hold that on the top 100 list for the entire year?
I mean, Westberg did it last year,
Yeah.
like with a 640. And we know that car's capable of going faster, but it went really fast in 2016.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ought to be pretty intense. Again, I hope that we see him at Sick Week because I think that would really just cement that event as, just like Tom says all the time, the Super Bowl of Drag and Drive.
Yeah. I'm definitely jealous that I won't be there to see that in person. So you better send me some
Yeah.
good videos and pictures of that.
Believe that. Believe that will happen. Have no question that I will be definitely digging in and following that guy around. Well, since we're talking about Sick Week, let's talk about the live stream for that. Have you been following some of that stuff with Garrett and Tom Bailey?
Yep, I just saw the post on Facebook recently talking about all the different camera views they're gonna have. They're gonna
Yeah,
have
like
a
8 different camera views.
a car on the road with cameras on it for the street part of it and
Yep.
route stops and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I said it in one of the I commented on one of the posts the other day that this is what Drag and Drive needs. And this was our, again, going back, like we're all going to level up in 2024.
Yep.
I think if we can show the roadside, the route stops, cool cars cruising in real time, I think it's just going to make people at home that much more foamy at the mouth for the event that they're going to get to attend.
Right.
So it,
Absolutely.
it's going to be cool. And then they were saying like Project Prime, it's going to have like a huge screen on like in the pits, I think, from what I understand. So folks that are in the pits will also be able to watch what's going on out on the road and things like that. So, yeah, Jeff here saying mobile cameras will be a cool new addition. I'm really excited about that, and then being able to switch back and forth. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be really cool. It's really going to get my brain working. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna bring with a platform that they're using, the Freedom Plus, and
Hmm.
with Garrett and Tom and their following, it's really gonna expose what this whole experience is about to a lot of people that maybe don't know what Drag and Drive is. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be great for the sport.
Yep. And so with Freedom Plus, we know a lot of folks subscribe to that. You can actually use code Sick Week in your if you sign up for Freedom Plus and get it for like 9.99. So I see Tom Bagley here saying he's gutted. He's not going to be there this year. Yes, I'm sad you are not going to be here as well. It'd be great to see you, but I know we'll see you later in the year for sure. What's he saying here? But this is the year to what? Pay off credit cards, probably.
This is the year to miss with all the coverage. So even though he's not going to be there, he's going to be able to see it all.
Yep, yep, that's
And
exactly
then
right. So
I think I heard that if you're subscribe to Sick the Mag itself, you're going to
Mhm.
get a code to be able to watch it for free.
Yep, that's right. And then Derek Putnam made a comment today or a reply to one of my comments saying that they will be replaying the live streams on YouTube at a later date. So I don't
Nice.
know if that'll be a couple days or a couple weeks or whatever, but it'll be really cool to be able to see all of that come about.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm like,
We got a question here. How many days left until sick week? I think it's the 28th, isn't it? So is that
yeah,
11 days?
yeah, not many at all. Not many at all. Pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So,
And Tom is saying June time he'll be back.
yes, perfect. Yeah. Hopefully that means he's coming for Rocky Mountain, and that means we'll get to hang out because I'm going to do 1.0 this year. So for the first time ever, for the whole week, anyways. To be
That'll
around everybody.
that'll be awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm hoping. So currently we'll talk a little bit about events. We're going to dig deep into this again this Saturday, but plan is maybe for Eric to do Six Summer, and then I'll do Rocky Mountain. So that way we can kind of separate some stuff and save some travel maybe on my end a little bit. All right.
Yeah,
Uh, oh yeah, so here, sport about talking about probably going to be cannonballing to Florida. Yeah, that dude lives in California, and so that would be a really long drive to get to Florida. So I'm sure, I hope that means you can leave earlier than what you were thinking, but it
that'd
doesn't
be
looks like you've been wrenching hardcore on that car.
that'd be some fun footage to watch too.
Yeah.
Recording that going from coast to coast would be pretty
Yep.
cool.
Yep, just there's just like one time lapse. It's like a 2.5 hour time lapse of him driving from California to Florida.
Right?
All right, well, dude, we got to move on. We got to talk about some stuff. All right, shower thoughts. I don't know what we're going to call this, but listen, windshield time. I don't know what to call this, but I thought of something the other day, and it really kind of got my gears turning. I was like, man, how is like what powers? Yeah, I love 850 racing. So what powers those cars? And really what kicks me off was, can a nitrous car win the 850 class? So of
Okay.
course, having the data, I go back through it and instantly start trying to figure out what actually, at that point, what has won it. Well, turbos are the obvious answer because that's what almost everyone has done is a turbo setup. Oh no, I'm sorry. Everyone has done a turbo setup that has won the last 18 850 classes, right? So all the way back to Midwest Drags 2021, all the events in 21, all the national events in 2022, all the events in 2023 were won with turbos. So if you're a
That's
turbo manufacturer, this is your glory days.
that's interesting.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So of course, I broke it down one more step. Turbo LSs had 13 of those 18 wins.
Let's go.
Yeah, Dustin Trance had three of them. Aaron Schaefer had one, two. He had two of them, and then Brian Acton had two of them as well. So Turbo LS stuff. Obviously, the way to go. Turbo small block Ford, 4 wins. Thought that was kind of a cool number to have, and then one single turbo Coyote out there just winning an 850 class. So it really like I want to see. I feel like this is like becoming pro mod, right? Like, oh, only turbo cars win, only screw blown cars win, only it's like the one package works, but there's got to be some highly competitive nitrous or blower cars that are out there. They're just not coming to win this. So
Yeah.
let's see if that can maybe materialize throughout this year, and hopefully it can. So then, of course, we go to the next step, which is and I'm going to keep digging on this. All right. I'm going to keep digging on the turbo stuff, but Hot Rod Drag Week was just where I started because I wanted to see, other than NA cars, only NA cars win. Yeah. I wanted to see, other than the naturally aspirated classes, what power adder style of power adder was chosen for the rest of the class of wins. So I started with Drag Week. Um, Unlimited was turbos, Ultimate Iron was turbos, Pro Street Power Adder was turbos, Modified was turbos, Super Street Big Block Power Adder was turbos, Super Street Small Block Power Adder was turbos, Super Street Big Block Power Adder was, or Street Race big block power adder was nitrous. One car, nitrous. You got a street race small block power adder with a turbo. Gasser obviously had a blower. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say
then
that's probably a given there.
yeah, and then the SME class, the Street Machine Eliminator, was a blower as well.
Who was
So,
do you know the SME car offhand?
yeah, Mike Reimars, and
Okay.
he set the new record in that orange. I don't want to call it a Fobra, but it it wasn't. Maybe it's a Roush car that he kind of added some Cobra stuff to, or it was a Cobra that he added Roush stuff to. I can't remember what the story is there. He's given us an interview, but the audio was off of it, and
Mm,
I can't pull the audio up enough to hear it anymore. But yeah, it's a S50 S550 Mustang with a blown Coyote in it. So kind of a cool deal. But I thought, again, windshield time thoughts. Like in my 20 minutes of driving home and driving to work, what goes through my head, which is, can we have a nitrous car win this, or are nitrous cars just not capable of winning an 850 class? I don't know.
yeah. That's definitely interesting. I don't know that I would have thought of that, but it's definitely cool statistics.
Yeah,
And it's cool to be
nerd.
able to go back and and look all that stuff up and be able to find that. So Brooks here says some super cool stats on turbos and winners. So glad you guys are tracking this stuff now.
Yeah, it's only going to get deeper. And man, the NA guys, I feel so bad for you. How about 6-cylinder cars? Ooh, man. Phew. Yeah, those guys need turbos to make that kind of power.
Yeah.
So
So kind of talking about, power adders and stuff. Did you watch any of Gary Putnam's Heads Up Racing podcast? What was it? A couple days ago?
yeah, I think they do that on Sunday nights. I watched probably 30 minutes of it, something like that. Had some family stuff to get to after that, but saw that David and Tina Pierce were on there. And when I left, they were talking about kind of how they got wrapped up in the show, which was essentially the show was street racing out behind their shop.
Yep.
And they go and fire up the car and take it out and end up racing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing, but I probably listened to, I would say, almost an hour plus of it.
Nice.
And they talked about everything from how David and Tina met to Street
Hmm.
Outlaws to Drag and Drive. But the one thing that I thought was really interesting, and it's something I've never heard of, but goes right along with our power adder stuff,
Yeah.
is in the truck that they have a compressed air supercharging.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
their power adder.
It's one of the coolest things you'll ever see. It's
Yeah.
really, it is like three huge compressed air tanks in the back. And I don't know. You'll have to listen to Dave talk about it, but it's really over the top because it essentially adds boost to the engine,
Hmm.
and you don't have there's no, I don't know. They explained it to me, but there's
There's
really
no
no contamination. There's no heat that comes from the turbo spinning and then pushing it through an intercooler and all that kind of stuff. Like you're literally adding, you know, 3,800 psi of compressed air to the engine,
yeah.
and that's how you're getting your boost.
Yeah. There's no intercooler, no nothing like that. Like you mentioned, there's three air tanks. Um, it's instant. Like it's
Yeah.
instant boost as soon as it comes on. They have it all controlled um, in their ECU system. I forget what they use. It wasn't Holly, I know that.
Hmm.
And then after the run, they go back to their trailer where they have what they call the mother bottle,
Yeah.
which is where they refill it, and they run a compressor to refill that,
Yeah.
and then they fill the tanks in the truck. So unlike like nitrous, you don't have to go to somebody and get your bottles filled.
Yeah.
You're taking atmospheric air and compressing that into a mother bottle and then filling bottles in your truck. So
Yeah.
there's like there besides the cost of the system, like you're not paying for like nitrous or anything.
I didn't
You're
even think about that side of it, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there, you just use it's got a dryer and everything in it, so it takes the moisture out of the air, so
Hmm.
you don't have to worry about any of that. And I think they said they can refill everything, the mother tank and the truck and everything in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they said that just becomes part of their routine. They pull in, they know they got to fire up the compressor, they got to do this and that, and then they said they're good to go.
Yeah, it works really well.
And I think they said they are only one of two people that are actively using it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's somebody else that's in the Midwest Drag Racing Series. It's Mark. Is it like
Griffin.
Griffin? Mark
Yep.
Griffin.
Yeah. First gen Camaro. Do you remember seeing it at PRI? It was that red and silver and blue first gen Camaro kind of in that hall all by itself.
I don't
Said
remember
said
offhand.
CAS on the side of it. It's really a
Oh,
cool.
with the American flag.
Yeah. Yep. If you
Okay.
guys wanna go down the rabbit hole of compressed air supercharging, get ready. It's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, other than having to package that, it really because one of the biggest things David said is it just is so much cleaner on your
hmm
system than what, like turbos or a blower or something like that is.
And then what I also thought was interesting is he talked about with a turbo, you're going to double double your horsepower,
Yep.
and say you use 30 pounds of boost. He said you can double your horsepower with this compressed air system for half of the amount of boost that you would with like a turbo car. So he's
Wow.
saying like 7.5 15 pounds of boost is going to make double whatever the horsepower your engine makes already.
Yeah, so easier on parts at that point too.
Yeah. So and then they got into the conversation of could they do that with a drag and drive? So
Mm,
then they talked about how they and he's all on board with trying to figure this out, but how does he package the mother tank into a pull behind trailer?
phew.
And he talked about putting that very low on the trailer, kind of underneath or
Yeah.
on the bottom of the trailer. And it was a really good show. I'm gonna go back
Huh.
and listen to the rest of the show to see
Yeah.
what I missed after I left, but it's it had me very interested. He said that the cost of the system is kind of expensive, and there's other people that have it that aren't actively using it yet. But as far as like weight gains, he thinks it's kind of a wash with twin
Yeah.
turbos, intercooler, all that stuff. He says it's probably about a wash when it comes to weight.
Huh. I think he had told me that because they raced the truck in the Midwest Drag Race series, and that's what they run in it for that whole series. And they were parked next to Mark Griffin at the Texas event, and that was one of the biggest things that we saw from there was that it just stays so clean. That's what he kept talking about. He's like your oil doesn't even get dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got any idea how much power they make with the compressed air setup? I don't remember what he said. For some reason, like 3,500 sticks in my head.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
if that's
that's the
accurate or not.
Yeah, so I think that's the PSI they're running at. But I mean, I would think that because it's just a 6 liter LS in that truck, and I think he said it's somewhere around 800, something like that. I mean, it runs low fives in the eighth, so
Hmm,
whatever that power takes to get there. So
gotcha.
they race a 520 class in that truck. So
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look and see if they talked about how much power it made.
yeah,
But yeah, so they got the truck that they're running in the Midwest Drag Series, and then they're probably going to bring the Nova out to some drag and drive event. They're
nice.
just not sure which yet.
Yeah, hopefully it's 1.0. I mean, I would think that's right in their backyard. It would work so well for them.
Yeah, I know they did mention that.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that is the Heads Up Racing, Gary Putnam, and Hot Rod podcast. So
yeah,
it's on Facebook. I imagine it's on YouTube as well. I would definitely go give it a listen because it that whole compressed air supercharging thing really grabbed my attention, and I kind of wanted
yeah,
to learn more about it. It's probably not something I'm gonna ever put on my vehicle, but
yeah,
just the how I don't know. It's just so interesting with,
yeah.
you're using atmospheric air. I don't know. I think it's a really unique setup, and it's something that not a lot of people are using yet. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious as to if that's something that's going to grow. Maybe in the Midwest Drag Racing Series it gets
Yeah.
bigger, but it sounded like they've been working on it for like 15 years. Whoever
Yep.
developed it and and made that
Yeah,
system.
I,
So
I think they were saying that they initially developed it for like airplanes because they were trying to add atmosphere when they were at higher elevations
mm,
or something like that. And the guy that then took it from there was like, well, if it works on airplanes to make more power, it's probably going to work on cars to make more power. And then that's
yeah.
where all of that came from.
So yeah, definitely an interesting one. I would suggest
Yeah.
go listening to it. I'm gonna go back and again listen to what I missed on it, but definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You're getting a little bit, I don't know, something's up with your audio, maybe just a little bit. Make sure you're plugged in there. Good.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Sounds better. All right. Well, perfect. Guys, let's talk about some guests because we've actually gone a little longer than what we wanted to because we got 3 guests lined up tonight. First one up, I see him in backstage there, Mr. Austin from Big Sky Race Week. Guys, this is the newest national level drag and drive event that's on the schedule. This is going to be part of the 2024 World Champion eligibility because we have seen so much. I'm just going to say outpouring of support for this event. I think there's a lot of people in this part of the country that want to attend, but like Dan Nissen has said so many times, it's just really hard to get to those events because you have to at least add a day's worth of travel to get there. So again, we're going to let him talk about. We're going to talk about the tracks that it's going to be at, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of like how this can maybe work into somebody pulling off maybe one of the coolest things in drag and drive history. So let's bring on Mr. Austin. If you'll add him, I'll change up our screen here a little bit.
All right.
Perfect. Hey,
Here we
Austin, how are
go.
you, sir?
How you doing? Can you hear
Oh
me?
man. Yep. We got you good, loud and clear. If you guys haven't seen it yet, Austin actually visited us at the PRI show and hung out for I don't know, probably 20 or 30 minutes. We were on live talking about the event. So a lot of the stuff that we'll probably talk about tonight will kind of be a recap of that. But for the folks that missed it, I mean, dude, this I'm really excited about this event for everybody that's out there because I think it's just going to again step up what we're trying to do with the entire community, which is grow it. But then at the same time, you're completely in a new part of the country for this. So introduce yourself and then tell us kind of a little bit about how this all came about.
So I'm Austin Walsh. Been bracket racing for quite a few years now. Um, been trying to get into drag and drive for years. Couldn't get into one because they always sold out, or it was just a huge drive, like you guys mentioned. Uh, but I started looking around a couple years ago, and Montana has 4 great racetracks, great facilities, and they're all pretty much equal distance apart from each other. So it just works out great I was like, this would be an awesome setup. And so this year we just decided we're going to do it. They're growing in popularity and we wanted to make it happen.
That's cool. Well, I'm really excited about that because, like, having the opportunity for people to really, there'll be a lot of folks that will have never visited any of these tracks. So, why don't you give us kind of a list of the tracks that you're going to be there? And one of the questions that I'm really interested in is it going to, are there going to be elevation changes? Because like you guys are kind of right on the edge of the Rockies there for some of this.
Yep. So where we're going to start is in just outside of Billings, Montana in Acton. It's called Yellowstone Drag Strip. It's out in the middle of a field. Really nice facility. And then we'll go up to Malta, which is on the high line of Montana, pretty not very far from Canada. Actually, they get a lot of racers that cross the border every weekend that they have an event. So we'll go up there. That track is actually going to be the lowest elevation we see. That's where you're probably going to be wanting to make like your big fast passes, get your average down. Then we'll go down back across the Missouri River breaks to Lewistown, Montana. There's a really nice drag strip there. It's super historical, one of the first drag strips out on the West Coast.
Wow.
It's on an old Air Force runway. It's a super, super cool facility. From there, we'll go actually right up over the Rocky Mountains, through Great Falls, through Helena, down to Anaconda, Montana. They did a whole bunch of historic mining and stuff in that area. They have a really, really pretty track, race at the base of the hills, just gorgeous area. And then we'll come back across from back to Billings and end it. You know, in all of this, there's going to be some significant elevation changes. Billings sits at about 3,200 feet. Anaconda's track sits at 5,800 feet. There's a couple mountain passes that you got to go over in between that I believe peak somewhere around 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet.
Yes.
So,
Nice. Yeah, you're going to see some elevation changes for sure. Well, that was my next question is like, how about the drives? Like, what are people going to expect to see?
yep. So it's going to be super pretty. You'll get to see everything from like Great Plains type stuff going up north from Billings to Malta, and then you'll get to see, I mean, crazy mountain views, crazy down along the Missouri River through these awesome canyons. It's just going to be gorgeous everywhere. It'll be a good time of year too. Everything should be starting to be green and vibrant. And
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the date of the event, and then we'll let Eric talk about some registration and things like that.
yep. So the event's happening June 16th through the 21st. Right in between Six Summer and Rocky Mountain Race Week. Just
Yep.
right in the middle of all those great events. So
That's awesome. How did registration go?
So registration opened on the 13th last Saturday. We sold a lot right off the bat. We
Yes.
still have a few spots available. We're about 25 roughly short of being sold out. So I mean we're getting close,
Yeah.
but
That's
Yeah,
great
that's-
news, dude.
yeah, that's
Congratulations.
awesome.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge to do that.
So how many folks are going to be traveling from kind of far away to get to this event?
you know, we got a huge mix of people. We sold tickets in 2 different countries, US and Canada. I believe last time I looked, it was 16 different states.
Wow.
The furthest one that I saw, they were coming out of Texas.
Yes.
So that's quite cool. A drive to come up, but it's gonna be it's gonna be worth it for sure.
That's probably Pat Cook and his crazy ass bringing the Grom to Montana.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, let's talk about classes. Obviously, we know you have a lot of classes. We know you kind of have but what's your favorite? Like, which one are you looking forward to the most?
You know, it's hard to put a favorite on these. They all are going to be super cool. The True Street class is taking off. The stick shift class is huge. I think the one that I'll probably be most excited to see is the gasser class.
Yeah.
I'm big into the retro, cool old stuff. The outlaw class is going to be super cool too. That's the big hitters come. So see what they can do up here.
One thing that'll be really neat, I was just thinking of some of the scenery that is going to be that these cars are going to be put against the backdrop. Like, I can't imagine what like some just true, like legit hot rod gassers is going to look like with some of that scenery behind them. It's going to be really awesome.
Yep. Hopefully we'll have some really good photography there going up with like the Alaska Speed Week and like the Redwood Rally, those type of pictures. Like those are some of the same idea of pictures that I'm like, those would be things that you could get.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was just about to say is when I envision this, I envision it right up there with Alaska and Redwood Rally. So that's going to be cool.
Yep. What about the miles? How far are these guys going to drive? Guys and girls, folks?
So round trip, we're depending on the exact specific route, we're hovering right around 900 miles, slightly over, sometimes slightly under, depending on what road construction looks like, stuff like that.
Wow.
In between each track, it averages about 250 miles a day.
Come on.
Some are a little bit less, some are a little bit more, but
yes. That's going to be awesome, dude. I can't. So, and you're staying in Montana, right? So there's
100% inside the state of Montana.
That's crazy how big that thing is. To think about that, you're going to be a 900-mile loop, and you're never going to leave the state.
Yep, you won't leave the state. The scenery will be completely different every day on the drives. It's going to be crazy.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited. So, the other question is obviously like, What led you to kick this off? You said you were trying to get into one of the things. Ed Hohenberg made the comment. He said the first race of drag and drive is registration.
Oh yeah.
So kind of walk us back a few years you've been following this, or is it like 5 or 10 years? Like what's been your drag and drive history?
So since Hot Rod Drag Week, the first one went off, me and my dad had just been watching it and being like, "Oh, that's super cool. We want to do that." And then in 2017, we actually thrashed through his 69 Camaro together, and me and my dad and my older brother jumped in it, cannonballed it to Power Tour, did because we were just taking the adventure, and then at Power Tour we had some car trouble, and we ended up doing some legit maintenance, pulled transmission out in the parking lot at the Big Go in Indy, just fixing all kinds of stuff. And right next to us is parked this beautiful Mustang that they're taking pictures of and getting measurements to make it a die-cast car. And we got people looking at us like we're crazy because we got this flat black thrown together 69 Camaro that's with transmission out, fixing stuff. And that's when we were like, we need to do the drag and drive stuff because that's where you see them doing this type of work and this type of thing. And and ever since then, we've been pushing for it. We got into Death Week. We did go on Death Week. That was pretty cool. We had some car trouble along the way. Didn't make it in the original vehicle, but we did ended up finishing the route with them, and that was pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm sure that only helped spark plans for the event, for your event. What are some things like, are you guys doing like what are some of the route stops you have planned, things like that?
So right now we're still working on specific route stops. I know we're definitely going to have them take pictures along the Missouri River breaks just because it's beautiful scenery up there. Yeah. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So trying to pick a few things here and there is, kind of difficult, but there's also a lot of open space up here. So we'll just have to see what we can do.
Right.
Yeah. Our time on Death Week opened up a lot of ideas, and definitely we met a lot of good people that are willing to help us out, have offered a lot of help. So
that's great. Well, I want to talk about kind of a plan that Jesse Fox of 3G Video and I are mulling around right now. And I want to see if you think he's crazy. I know he's crazy, but it's 1,200 miles from Acton, Montana to Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is where Rocky Mountain Race Week starts. At this point, he's going to do 6 Summer and then just bomb to you guys. So 6 Summer ends on the 14th and you start on the 16th. So that gives him a day and a half to make 1,200 miles because it's like 1,200 from Byron to you.
Yep,
and then another 1,250 from Acton to Tulsa.
Yep. The 16th is just a tech day. So we're just going to be checking over cars, checking everything in. So really he should have till the 17th if he needs it.
Perfect. He'll have plenty of time, right?
Yeah.
So here's kind of the thought process. And I was looking at flights the other day. I'm thinking that I may fly to him and have him, like I'll meet him for y'all's last day of racing. Perfect. Him and I will get in his car and just haul the mail down to Rocky Mountain Race Week, and I'll do 1.0 that way. So at least that way I can kind of get up there and see you guys and, see all the cars and all that kind of stuff. Plus, it really only adds about 2 days to my whole trip, quote unquote. But if he does this is kind of his plan. He'll do 6 Summer, he'll do Big Sky Race Week, and then he'll do Rocky Mountain Race Week. So 3 weeks, literally straight of drag and drive events. So we're calling it the trifecta. And I want to see if anyone else out there is planning to do this in their race car, because that's one of I think if somebody could put this together, they would, I don't know, they'd be legends. Because it's
for sure.
Not only is it 1,000 miles for each trip. So 6 Summers, probably 600 miles. And then you've got 1,200 miles to get to you. Then you've got your 1,000 miles. Then you got
Yep.
1,250 miles to get to Rocky Mountain Race Week, and it's like 12 or 1,300, and then you got to get back home. So I think we added up his trip. It was something like 7,500 miles or something like that to make the loop. By the time he drives from his house to Byron to all those places in background, or 4,500 or something, I can't remember.
That'll be crazy. It'll be a really cool story, though. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, that dude is an animal. His summer is just absolutely jam packed. June is also becoming the September of Drag and Drive. Last year I was gone for 3 weeks of the month. Now it looks like if I could swing it, I'd do the same thing in June. But I don't know. Jesse Fox of 3G Video is absolutely crazy. But that's kind of the current plan right now is for me to fly into Billings, make it to you guys, and then him and I will drive down to Rocky Mountain Race Week.
There you go.
He is living the dream, let me tell you.
Well, so you remember Monday Morning Racer said working the dream.
Yep.
It's not just living it; you're working it, and that's
Working it.
that's what Jesse Fox does for sure. So I know
Yeah.
that's at least one photographer planning to come to you guys. I know there's others that are headed up that way. So I'm really excited to see the stuff that comes from that event.
I'm excited to see it too. It's going to be just incredible.
Yep. So let's give a shout out to your sponsors, and then tell everybody where they can, one, sign up. We got to get folks to sign up for this. You only got 25 spots left, and then where they can find everything else on social media and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Big shout out to our sponsors that have jumped on so far. We got Dooley's Diabolical Diesel out of Great Falls. We have Chuck's Custom Auto out of Great Falls, and then we have Custom Collision Repair out of Havre and I don't know how to pronounce it, but they have 2 locations up on the High Line of Montana up there.
Nice.
Huge shout out to all of them. It's great that people are jumping on board. We're welcoming everybody that wants to come on and help.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Facebook is our probably main one. Instagram's going up every time with Facebook.
Nice. Yeah.
We're kind of trying to post the same things and then a little bit different on each one.
Yep.
They're just Big Sky Race Week on Facebook and Instagram. And then you can get tickets from thefote.com. You just go on the Fote, look up Big Sky Race Week, it'll pull it up, or we have it linked on our Facebook and our website. You can just go on either one of those, find it, click the link, it'll trigger you right to the tickets.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I'm really excited about this. I've said excited about 17 times now, but I am. This event really is going to be great for that part of the country, but it's also, again, Dan says all the time, Dan says all the time, this gives you a reason to go somewhere else and race.
Yep. Yeah. If you haven't been to Montana, and I mean, like, unless you're going to Seattle for something or racing in Montana, you're not really going to be going through it.
Yep.
So it gives you an excuse to come out and check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff here. So,
well, and one of the biggest reasons I love Drag and Drive so much is it makes it a point for you to get off of the main road. You're not driving 88 miles an hour with the cruise set for 300 miles. So you got to make the next gas or P stop. You're literally making it a point to get off of that road, to get on the 2-lane, to go through the town, to go, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And then, dude, we didn't even talk about the poker run.
Oh, yep. Our road week class is it's for those just driving along, but instead of just driving along and seeing it, we're getting you guys involved. We're going to set up a poker run for you. At each track, you get a card. At the end of the week, whoever's got the best hand is going to win a prize.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I know you've been talking with us. We definitely are wanting to get involved in that. We love that kind of stuff. Something to give everybody something else to look forward to. Increase the experience, I'll say. So after we get off of this, we'll figure out what we're going to do. But I would say at least some kind of swag pack or something. We'll do a shirt for driver and co-pilot, and a hoodie, and maybe some hats if we haven't by then too. So
heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Well, dude, I want to say thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. I know we were going to do this last week, but things came up. I'm glad you were able to make time for it tonight. And I'm really excited that you guys are so close to selling out. Getting within 25, especially being your first event, especially being, folks don't know what to expect yet. So I think as we move on, as we talk about stuff, as you guys continue to post, I mean, obviously you're not going to have a problem at all selling out. And I think everybody's going to have a great time at this. it's going to be really cool to see all these photos that come out of that.
I'm excited. Big thanks to all the racers that have already entered, everybody that's already supporting and excited to come. Like, we're excited to see you, excited to have you. So
yeah, and this is just a reminder for all those folks that are going to this event that are already registered and stuff like that. Hit the share button on these posts when you see them. It takes literally 2 seconds. When you see Big Sky Race Week post, you need to just hit the share button, just share it to your feed, show everybody that you're going to this event, make some cool comments, because I'm telling you, this first event, it kind of gets it out of the way and it just lays some serious groundwork for the second one. So then, that's when you start selling out in, like, 20 minutes and all that kind of stuff, an hour, all that stuff. So good luck to you, man. I can't wait. This won't be the last time you're going to be on the show. We're going to talk at least one more time before you do the event. And then obviously we're going to have you back on afterwards, because we got to see all these pictures, man. We're going to go through 100 and something pictures while you're on after the event. So
yeah, and if there's anything we can do to help promote or anything, or artwork type stuff, let us know.
Yeah, something that we need to say that we're not saying, let us do. Just tell us. We're all in.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Thanks again, Austin. Bye.
Bye.
Cool, man. I really am excited about that event. I know I've said that makes like 19 times that I've said excited, but it really is one of the coolest stuff that's out there. To see this level of event keep continuing to grow for the for all of the events that are coming up and all that. So it's good luck to them.
Yeah, I really wish I could make that one. Being right after Six Summer, that's going to be tough, but I look forward to all the pictures and videos that come out of it.
Yeah, you'd have to take 2 weeks straight off. I can't wait to. I think I'm going to go ahead and make the commitment to Jesse and do the drive from Acton, Montana to Rocky Mountain.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The flights are only like $200 or $300. I think I can go ahead and make that make sense.
Yeah, I wish I could make it, and what would be cool, I can't make it happen, but if I jumped in from Byron and rode with them out there until the end of the week, and then you come in, jump in and ride to Rocky Mountain, and I go home.
Yeah.
But that would be too tough for me.
Jesse Fox, if you're watching this, what about what if you did Six Summer and then you and him bombed to Big Sky?
Yeah.
You flew home that Sunday.
Yeah.
Kick that around. I obviously we have some funds we can provide for some airplane travel for you. That would maybe be pretty cool, because it would really help him out a lot. That's the biggest thing, because he's going to be, at that point, he'll be 1,000 miles into the trip and then run from there on through.
Right.
So, be kind of fun. I don't know. Kick it around. We'll talk about some of that stuff. So, guys, I want to talk about, before we bring on Luke from Howard Skills, I want to talk about what I found on Summit Racing this week. Except, do you know what your boy didn't do?
I didn't put any pictures.
Nope, didn't do it at all. But listen, Summit Racing's back on board for 2024. I'm not even going to say it. You know what I am. I'm excited about this. We've been talking about what we're going to do, but Saturday is we're going to lay out what kind of the plan for 2024 is, and it's going to be a big one. The deals they're making on summitracing.com right now are great, and that's we need you to keep shopping over there, everybody, so they can keep supporting us over here. So please make sure that is your first stop when you go to look for car parts throughout your, I don't know, search for making your car faster. But this week I did find that Mr. Heaters have a ton of like Summit bucks on them. And the reason I thought about that is because your weather is down here in Arkansas, and I need you to come get it, dude.
Dude, it's bad.
No, I hate it. I hate anything under 50 is not for me. It's brutal. It's like 5 degrees right now, and if y'all can hear the heater in my little podcast room, it'll literally turn off for about 12 seconds and then back on.
Yeah, I was texting you because the battery went out in my truck and it was like -12. Like, that's the actual temperature. With wind chill, it was like -30. And I had to go out and replace a battery in my driveway because, I have 2 race cars in my garage, so I had no room to bring the truck in.
Yeah. That's I'm out. I have zero desire. But I'll tell you, these the heaters had the biggest one I saw, the biggest discount was on the or biggest Summit Bucks was the ones you put on top of the propane tank. And I was like, that's what I need. I don't need it in this 9x7 podcast room, but that's what we need for if it's going to be cold at Sick Week, which I hope it's not going to be. So, but it's cold here right now, and I don't like it at all. Snow still on the ground from Sunday, just gross, man. Take it
Not
from
as
me.
much as we have.
Yeah, no. If it snowed that much, it's funny. We have my daughter has one of her best friends is moving to Chicago, and there it snowed, and she was talking about, oh, it's snowing and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, you're going to get a lot of that when you get to Chicago, and like they'll make you still go to school.
Yeah,
She
they
was like,
did.
what?
They did cancel school here the day that it was like negative, like I don't know, 12, 15 degrees. But yeah,
That's gross.
today it was like 0, I think, or
No,
something like that, and they went to school. But yeah, in my backyard right now is probably calf high snow if I were to try to walk out there.
no, no. That,
I
that
don't know
doesn't
why I
work
live
for me.
here.
I don't either, dude. Move to Arkansas. Let's go, man. Let's we'll be in person doing this. All right. Well, guys, again, hit the summitracing.com website when you're looking for anything. They have it's the world's largest speed shop, dude. Like they got everything that's out there. All right, let's talk to Luke from Howard's Cams because they signed back up 2023 sponsored 2024. They're back here for us. Mr. Luke B, how are you, sir? Uh-oh. Nope. I don't have any audio, bud.
Are you
Can't hear
muted?
Uh-oh. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Jeff is saying that it's 19 degrees there in Chicagoland.
No, no,
He
that's
must
not.
not be too far from me then.
Yeah.
See, a couple hours away, probably.
How about now?
Oh,
There
there
you
we
are.
go. We can hear you. Perfect. See, if anybody could figure it out, I knew it was you.
Yeah, we speaking of weather, it's the warmest it's been in like 4 days here, and it was 2 today.
Dude, that's gross, man. That's gross.
Yeah,
Why do you live there?
good question.
Because it's beautiful in the summer and early fall.
Fall is very nice here, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I guarantee it. Well, dude, again, we're excited to have you back on for 2024. And I'm excited for what this means because we're going to be adding a Howard's Cam segment to the show now that's on Wednesday night. So the coolest part about that is it means we're going to get to dive deep into some stuff. And we're going to talk about some of the deep dive stuff later on because you got something to talk about custom camshafts and kind of give us a lesson on that. So
Yeah.
let's not start out with that. Let's start out with something kind of funny because I can only imagine the phone calls that you get and the people that are building this random stuff that their uncle said they need to buy this cam, and then you help them figure it out. So let's go through some of those.
Yeah, so for those that follow me on Facebook, there's been a couple that I felt the need to post on my feed because they were just so ridiculous. Last week, I had a guy call and complain to us about how he had to use a mallet to install his camshaft.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's not good. That you shouldn't have to do that.
yeah, not that I'm like not a professional or anything, but if you're wailing on the end of a cam to get it in your engine, please put down the hammer and step away from the engine.
Yeah, that last cam bearing's a little tight.
Yeah, and then I told him to send it back to us because it probably got bent in shipping, and he didn't believe me. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
So
that was a fun one.
yeah.
So is that
Cam-
what actually happened, or?
Oh,
Yeah, so believe it or not, cams getting damaged in shipping is a pretty big problem.
Really?
And it's crazy because you go through basically trials with these outside companies that come in for like FedEx and UPS, and they actually test our packaging, and they give it a pass fail in order for us to be basically liable to submit claims and do stuff like that on bent or broken cams. And I just told this story literally yesterday to a customer. My superior, Eric, was walking around our shop with one of these guys, and he was asking him all sorts of questions about how he packaged a cam or like he doesn't see how we could break them. And Eric was just walking through the warehouse and grabbed we have a stack of just dummy cams that are basically cores that are no good to even start with. And he grabs it and he just chucks it up in the air in the warehouse and lets it bounce off the concrete. And nothing happened to it. I mean, it was probably junk after that, but it didn't break in half. And he turns and looks at the guy and he goes, you tell me that our packaging's not very good if we're getting cams that are broken in half, and you saw what just happened there.
Wow, dude, like
So-
how's that even happen? Like, is it rolling down the conveyor belt and somebody like gives it the elbow?
We probably get 2 or 3 broken cams a month through shipping agencies.
Wow.
I've never seen somebody break a cam except in an engine. So
Yeah.
I would love to see what these guys are doing.
Right, like you just had, like there's just this camera following this cam box, and it's just going along
Yeah.
the conveyor belt, and then it just
Yeah.
goes.
We've had them go out to people, find out that they're bent, and they straighten themselves on their way back.
Oh, convenient.
Even weirder. So we get it back and we put it on a roller and they check out fine. And then it's cross your fingers and hope it doesn't get bent again on the way back to the guy. But
Wow.
yeah, that's some of the wilder stuff that happens in the shipping world.
Well, you've been with Howard's for a while. You've obviously been a big part of. I mean, dude, I don't know how many times I've asked you cam stuff, and like there's a lot of stuff that I ask that never comes to fruition because it's again, windshield thought from my brain as I'm driving along. Hey, what if we did this? And you're nice enough to do that for us. We appreciate that. And I think you've done that for a lot of the drag and drive community, right?
Yeah. It's kind of PRI was like the biggest reality check on what you guys have done for us as far as a company in this community, because it was just nonstop drag and drive guys throughout PRI, and then even after PRI, it was following up with all those guys. And there's going to be a couple pretty cool combos going together for 2024 with our cams in them, and I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, if you guys didn't know, I mean, obviously Howard's Cams is the official valve train of Drag Drive for Pete. So we appreciate you guys coming on and again, and doing that. So let's talk about some products that maybe have come out recently that we'll talk about that, and then maybe you can kind of sneak in some secret squirrel stuff.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that's hitting the market in 2024, we basically put them out on display at PRI, but it's our TrackSmart H-beam rods. So yes, we're a camshaft company, but we basically top to bottom, crankshafts, pistons, rods, everything. So Brooks Flaherty, Howard's Cam and my ride this year. Awesome. But TrackSmart is going to be a budget line H-beam rod for that like 1,000 to 1,200 horsepower guy. Right in line with like what a set of like the Eagle H-beams would be. So very affordable. And I will be making sure a pretty wicked sale on them going on in March through Summit. So we'll make sure that we get on here and talk about that and plug Summit and plug us for that and make sure you guys can take advantage of those good deals. But something that we haven't had in a long time is Ford connecting rods, and we brought back some Ford stuff for the TrackSmart line. So we're pretty excited about that.
Like small block and big block stuff, or like Coyote or Mod Motor stuff?
Just small block, yeah. Coyote, I would love to do some Coyote stuff, but the amount of time it's going to take us to develop that stuff, it's pretty wild. Yeah, Coyote.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Those dudes are making 1,000 on factory stuff. Factory cam can go to like 1,200 or something insane. So.
Yeah. I mean, when everybody's breaking records with those things, I mean, it was rod, piston, stock camshaft stuff going mid-7s. So what do you really need?
Right. That's exactly right. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to have you. We'll definitely talk about that in March for sure. Kind of talking about some of that stuff. Well, H-beam rods. I mean, dude, like, what else, man? What else been going on with you guys? I know wintertime's probably, is it like car guy stuff? Like, is wintertime your upgrade time? Like where you guys are doing new stuff? or is it all the time?
Kind of wintertime. Wintertime is like all the boring, like not car stuff for
Oh,
it's let's set up all our new vendor profiles. Let's make sure that places like Summit are ready to go for like all of our sales when that stuff hits. It's
yeah.
making sure that the price increase that comes once a year is going out to all of our people. So it's that time of year where I don't really get to do a whole lot of car stuff. It's more of like admin stuff, but you know, we got to do that to keep the parts rolling off the shelves.
That's exactly. Well, you got to plan ahead, man. You can't be like, what are we going to put on sale this week? It can't be like that.
Yep.
I see Rodney's Rods here asking any Ford FE stuff coming from Howard's.
Yeah. I mean, we have a huge offering of Ford FE valve train parts, roller cams, roller lifters. We don't have a rocker system for them, just mainly because of being a shaft rocker system. But no lower end stuff for FEs.
Yeah.
You gotta hate yourself to really want to build one of those things. They're difficult engines.
Yeah, I bet. I don't mess with anything Ford engine wise anyway, so we just usually put LS in that kind of stuff if we're gonna do
Oh,
one of those.
you're basically messing with Ford stuff. You know, it's just a copy of the Windsor, right?
I mean, right. What's Jeff here saying? He reached out last year and picked up a Howard's Camp for Son's 502 stroker in the 96 dually. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. That's a super cool rig, like OBS, Ford truck, dually, I think it's extended cab, super cool deal. And then he's pulling a Fairmont, box top Fairmont to the track with it, just right on the money.
Yeah, that's goals right there, right? The tow rig has to match the car to a certain extent.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the kid's like 19 years old. So I mean, like, you would expect that from like somebody in their 40s, but it's not that. It's a kid doing it, so it's even cooler,
That's awesome.
Well, let's talk about some of the stuff that you work with generally. I mean, I would think we talk about off the shelf cams a lot, and that's really for 99.8% of the people that you talk to, that's probably going to be okay. And generally, the kind of stuff that they're looking for is probably in stock and ready to go most of the time for what they're looking for. 5 or 600 is more than enough power for most people. And those cams are probably, and valve train stuff is all in stock, right? Or mostly in stock.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. LS is everything. So if you have an LS engine and you can't find a camshaft in stock from us, you're not looking hard enough, because it's a third of our warehouse. Small block Chevy, pretty plentiful. Fords have been an issue, to be completely honest. So we're still trying to catch up with Fords. We have lots of cores in stock, but when you don't have a lot, you spend a whole lot of time trying to catch up, and we're still trying to do that since I think our cores came in early November.
Wow.
So when we're 6 to 8 weeks out on a cam, it takes us a while to catch up. So hopefully by spring we'll have a lot better selection right off the shelf for a lot of that stuff. But
that's cool.
Yeah, like you said, 90% of the people out there, there's really no reason to go custom, especially if you take a look at our catalog and see how big it is. If there's not something in that catalog that fits for you, then you have something pretty oddball, or we're trying to do something pretty big deal boost is usually when we need to go custom.
Yeah. So let's dive into that if you want to for a little bit here and kind of talk about, one thing I like to do with some guests, especially like with you, is like I ask you, hey, what should we be talking about? And your literal thing was like, let's dive deep on whether they need a custom camshaft or and what their limitations are. So kind of school us a little bit, give these people at home a lesson.
Yeah, we were actually talking internally about a week or two ago that we aren't convinced that a lot of people really understand what a custom camshaft is. And what it came down to is that most of these guys were looking for a custom recommendation, not necessarily a custom camshaft. So they were completely content with a off-the-shelf part number, because we would start talking to a lot of these guys And they'd be like, well, I want something I can buy right now. I was just wanting a recommendation. So we're finding out that a lot of people, their perception of custom is just something that they spent time with somebody on to figure out what part number worked best for their application. And that was kind of not eye-opening, but it was definitely a different aspect of how we've been looking at for a long time, just because these guys they didn't want something special. They wanted something off the shelf. They just wanted it custom tailored to whatever their combination is. But then there's the other side of that where you have a guy calling in for a 355 Chevy with a 205 runner and an air gap, wants a custom camshaft. Well, we can do a custom camshaft for anything. But what I enjoy doing in my job is debunking a lot of the smoke and mirrors that have been made in the camshaft industry. So many people think that there's so much magic in the camshaft, and honestly, the magic that's there is you can't see it. But everything else is just math. The only magic in a camshaft is the actual lobe design, duration at 50, lift numbers, lobe separation. None of that's magic. It's just a math equation. So if somebody really wants to know why I think their car doesn't need a custom cam or why maybe it does, we'll sit down and I'll go through the math with them. We'll talk about CFM demand of the engine. We'll talk about what the thing actually would require for lift for a certain RPM, and talk about what duration actually does to their engine and what a different lobe separation might do to their engine. And usually after talking through them with all that, we can find a shelf part number that works really, really well for them. Because at that point, I'm showing them that the fact that we have something on the shelf that's 530 lift opposed to their cam or their heads are good for 600 lift. So they feel like they need 600 lift. We can go through that math and I can show them that their engine doesn't need 600 lift because it's breathing fine at 530 to support the power that they need. And then all of a sudden they don't need anything special. They can just use something off the shelf. So that's, like I said, that's probably the most fun I have, is educating somebody on what little of a camshaft an engine usually needs to get the job done.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second, because then that gives you the opportunity to have some vacuum. It drives better. It's easier. And it's like valve springs. Oh man, this thing will go to up to 600. Well, I need 598, bro. Like, dude, calm down.
Yeah. I mean, there's valve springs are something we could talk for a whole nother show on, because we want to make sure that you're close enough to a coil bind on your valve spring that it's actually working as a dampening effect. So let's say you have springs that are good for 600 lift and we have 500 lift. Well, that's 100 thousandths of usable area that spring is really just oscillating freely. It's hard to explain unless you really have a picture to show it, but we want to make sure that the spring is right for the amount of lift that we have and not just completely overboard. So a lot of times these guys that have heads that are set up for 600 lift, I'll talk to them and sometimes we'll shim them down a little bit tighter. But like you said, I mean, if we can do something with 550 lift or 530 lift opposed to 600, that's less overall movement in the system, and it leads to longevity if it's all set up right. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it goes back to the difference in making 507 horsepower and making 514 horsepower, 522 horsepower. Like you're literally within, now if you're ragged edge trying to get to that 999 number NA or something like that, maybe, but like for the most part, for most of us guys, we're looking for burnouts, ice cream. Like that's what we want to do. I want to make cool noises. How many people call you and go, "Hey man, I just want one that's got good chop. I just don't want to just choop."
Yep. Yeah, a lot. A lot. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. The
Well,
difficult part is somebody that calls and wants it to chop, and then they want a factory torque converter. They have power brakes, and they got like a 297 rear gear.
Yeah.
Then we
They
have a
just
little
want
bit
it
of
to
trouble.
sound
But
cool in the parking lot as they're cruising to Sonic.
yep. Yep.
Yeah,
So
we've been down that road. Sorry, Eric, real quick. We've been down that road with customers with narcoleptic stuff. You got a guy, you build a 550, 600 horsepower setup, and they're like, "Well, I don't want to spend the money on a converter." I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna hate your life, man. You're gonna hate it. You're not gonna have any fun with this." And then they drive it for a little bit, and they're like, "This thing is a turd. It's a dog. Oh, it doesn't make that kind of power." And then you put a converter in it, and it's like, "Wow, I should have done this from the get go."
Yeah. Converters and camshafts are two things that'll make or break a
Yep.
combination.
Yep. Yeah, you can really screw it up the wrong way and
Yeah.
do something very wrong. But man, when it's right, whew, and that's where having like a conversation with a guy like you, and then also understanding that you're going to need to have a conversation with that converter guy as well. Like you don't need to just go, "Oh, I'm going to order this one because my buddy has it."
Yeah. That's something that I fight on a daily basis because people will call us for a converter recommendation. And yeah, the cam has a lot to do with it, but I mean, you go onto Summit and you type 3200 stall converter in, and you pick out a 3200 stall converter, and you put that, let's say there's 3 different vehicles all with the same
Yep.
5.3 LS engine, but there's 1,400 pounds of difference between the 3 vehicles. Every single one of those vehicles is going to want a different converter. Just because we recommend a 3,200 stall for a camshaft doesn't mean you should go buy a 3,200 stall. You should call your converter guy and get him to spec you something that's appropriate for the weight of the vehicle and the gear ratio, etc.
Yep. Sorry, Eric, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, when somebody calls up and wants a recommendation for a cam, what kind of information do they need to have ready for you to give you for you to be able to give them a recommendation?
Yeah, so a lot of that is going to depend on how wild the setup is. For the general guy that is just doing like a street car, or like let's say it's going to be like a 12 or a 13-second deal, I just need to know basic specifics about weight. Really doesn't play into it a whole lot from what I've seen, but I really want to know specifics about the cylinder heads. Telling me it's a Brodex cylinder head or an AFR cylinder head really doesn't tell me anything. I want to know model number if you can get it to me, because then I can look up flow numbers real quick and we can know where we can be on the camshaft really quickly if I have flow numbers for the cylinder heads. Gear ratio does have an effect on it depending on how much converter, if it's a stick shift car. Compression ratio is huge because a lot of people are running on pump fuel. So pump fuel is extremely volatile, and it gets hard to make something work on pump gas unless it's got VVT or coil packs. That really opens up the options. But for your general small block Chevy guy with a carburetor and a distributor, I mean, if you're 10.5 to 1, you're going to need a little bit of camshaft for that thing to work on 91, 93 pump gas. So make sure you know your compression ratio. A lot of guys will call and ask us for a cylinder head recommendation for a camshaft. Realistically, we should be doing that the other way around. We want you guys to have a long block picked out before we spec a camshaft.
That makes sense. And so when folks are like for your home builder, like a guy like me, I mean, like, dude, I've never taken an engine to an engine builder to have anybody put anything together for me, right? It's come right out of how GM built it. I would think that's probably pretty easy. I call you, I go, hey, dude, I want to make 500 wheel. This is the turbo I've got. This is the converter and trans I've got. Help me out. And then you're like, oh, yeah, part, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I go, cool. Send that one tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah. Turbos make things easy because what we do on a turbo setup is really just target an RPM range. Cylinder heads affect things, but not to the magnitude that they will on that's like nitrous or NA. So if you have a street driving turbo car and it's a relatively decent sized turbo, it's almost the same cam for every single combination, unless we really want to get specific on it. Like there's a reason why companies like Brian Tooley only offer a couple cams for turbo cams or a couple cams for supercharger stuff. It's because they really just work like that. It takes any cylinder head and it makes it good. That's what Boost does.
Yeah. All cams are turbo cams.
Yeah, to an extent, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well,
so a guy like me with a twin GT45 LS, you could probably pop a cam number off right on the back of your head, right?
Yep. Yeah. We got one that's like 231, 235 at 55, 90, 618 lift on a 115.
Yep.
Yep.
And then a huge converter in that car, and let's go. Put a gear vendor in that thing. Let's drive that dude.
The cylinder heads are so good that you can put a good bit of cam in them, and they just seem like they don't need a lot of converter, especially with the smaller cubic inch stuff. So, I mean, that and something that makes horsepower needs a little bit of a tighter converter, so they just drive nicer anyways.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Eric, we need you to finish that car up so we can take it on a drag and drive.
I got 2 different converters sitting in the garage right now.
Perfect. That sounds right up my alley. So what I need to do is come up there, and we need to take that on 6 summer. Now suddenly I'm going to be gone 3 weeks of June too. Sorry.
You better save another week to come up and help me get that thing ready.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Well, Luke, I want to say thanks for coming on tonight, dude. Thank you for being patient. Again, we were going to do this last week. He jumped on here with us tonight, man. We really appreciate it. And again, dude, we're going to have you on often because anytime I talk to you, it only raises more questions because I don't know stuff. That's the problem,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're a great source of knowledge. You're a great dude to talk to. Where can people, follow along on your stuff on social, and then how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Howard's Cams, both Facebook and Instagram. We try to be as active as we can on that. I am the guy that wields all that as well as do all the sales managerial duties. So
nice.
There's not as much as I would like on there, but we do try to do quite a bit on there.
Yeah.
And then Lukey B Speed and Service for my personal stuff on Instagram.
That's awesome. Well, cool, dude. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, I know we've said it before, but Mike and I need to make a trip out there at some point and get a tour of the facility.
Yeah, when it's warmer, otherwise Mike will freeze.
Yeah, right.
We'll be carting him around.
Like this, I'm not coming. I don't care how warm it is in your car. I'm not going. So I'll come in that 3-week window where it gets in the 80s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. All right, dude. Well, thanks a bunch, man. We appreciate it. And I promise we're going to make time. I'm going to come up and see you guys. Eric is a little closer, so maybe he can make a day trip out of it. But I definitely want to come up there. I want to throw one of those cams down the warehouse.
You know what? We can do that with a junk cam just to prove how good these cams are.
Right, that's what it needs to be, like into the trash can bucket. That's what we need. We need some kind of competition. It'll be kind of fun. We'll mess around with that a little bit.
Here we go.
I like where this is going.
I know that's right. All right, dude. Thank you so much again. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
All right. See you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Luke.
Dude, I'm telling you, that guy's way smarter than we deserve.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just absorbing knowledge because I know a fair amount of stuff, but some of that stuff is over my head.
Oh, I mean, well, again, it's way over my head, and that's what's good about having folks like that. Not just as friends of ours, but friends within the community, is because like folks can literally message him, find him on Instagram, message us. I'll get you his contact info, and we can go right from there. And it makes it easy to, again, he talks about a lot of times an off the shelf cam will get the job done, but then dude, then you get it a lot faster as well.
Yeah, so and you don't need to guess what cam that you think you might need when there's a person there that's ready and willing to answer your question and spec you out a cam. Just pick up the phone and call.
Well, and have a realistic idea of what you want. Again, the whole entire goal of the old truck was to make 500 wheel, do burnouts, when I wanted it to and be able to drive around and get ice cream. And that's what we did. And we put all of that stuff together, the converter, the 4L80, the cam, the turbo, everything was matched for that, and that specific plan. So
Yeah.
we weren't we weren't we weren't trying to get every last bit of power out of it. So
Yep.
I see my mama on here saying y'all have more watchers tonight. Congratulations. I want to say thanks to everybody that's out there, guys. We've got Cory Nicholson up here on CarChains3D. Hey, dude, guess what? I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Because I got to spend some time with Cory at PRI. I actually sit right next to him for about 2 hours of Buffalo Wild Wings
Yep.
on, what was that, Friday night or something like that? And
they all blended together.
yeah, I don't know. It was the night. It was Friday night, because it was when we left those guys. We were going back to the hotel, and that's when we saw Steve Morris. And then the night changed, not because of Steve Morris, but because of John at Delta PHE.
Yeah.
So
yep, memories were made.
Yeah, and what's cool about what Cory does is it's so different than what we typically have been looking at on the channel and past events or past interviews and things like that. And obviously he's going to kind of tell us a little bit of this story, but if you follow him and the channel Car Chains on Instagram and on Facebook, this guy is producing stuff daily. New stuff daily is about what I think that needs to be a new segment for him or something, because he's coming up with all kinds of stuff. I was actually messaging him, kind of giving him a countdown. I said, "Hey, about 10 minutes." He goes, "No problem, man. I'm sitting over here engineering things as I'm listening to you guys."
Yeah, I remember I found him on Facebook well before we ever talked to him, and just being, again, I'm a car guy. I've got a 3D printer and I like to make cool stuff. So when I saw somebody else doing it, I started following him, and he's went from, like you said, car keychains all the way up to some pretty incredible stuff that he's making now. So.
Oh yeah, and doing it on a level that is, it's no longer a hobby for him. I'll tell you that much. And he's going to tell us a little bit about that. So, Cory, if you're ready, give us a thumbs up, and we'll bring you in for sure. Oh yeah, big thumbs up, dude. Guys, I want to introduce Cory Nicholson of CarChains3D. Dude, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you on here, man.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
It's been a day.
Yeah.
I'm in the frigid north of Michigan, where they're trying to murder us every day. It's been cold.
I don't know how people do that, man. Like, listen, I'm in a hoodie and it's 60 in the podcast room. I'm in a hoodie.
Well, I thankfully have free electricity because I have like 20 3D printers behind me going, so it's hot in here. But it's out. They've canceled school the last 2 days for my kids because it's like -20 wind chills or something. So we just don't go outside. We're just scared of the world for right now.
Well, that's not even fair at all. That's not even. I don't know how people live there. I don't know how people live there. Well, dude, let's jump into this because we try and run about 2 hours, so we'll be on here with you for 30 minutes, easy. So, kind of introduce yourself and give us a little bit of history of the whole brand, man. How'd you get started? Where did all this begin?
Well, so it's actually kind of funny. So how this started was I was a mechanic. I've been a mechanic all my life. I worked on helicopters in the Army. I came out. I was a Chrysler mechanic. I did that for a long time. But your body just breaks down, and it got to the point where I had to stop flipping wrenches in my driveway. So I was flipping wrenches in the driveway for extra money, and then having my regular job. And I just couldn't do it. I was just beat. We moved back to Michigan, and it was cold, and I felt like I was going to die when I'd work on a car. So I was like, you know what? It's time to figure something else out. So my wife bought me my very first 3D printer. Now it's going on like 5 years for my birthday. I feel like she very much regrets this decision, but so it was this little itty bitty. It's called a Monoprice Mini. It's like a little 120 by 120 bed, little itty bitty thing, right? So I never touched one. I never touched CAD software in my entire life. I just got into it. My ADHD went full blown crazy, and I figured it all out. So we played with it for a while, and I was still flipping wrenches, trying to figure out this 3D printer thing. And I was working on my buddy's BMW Turbo Z3 in the driveway, and I'm like, I'm done. After I'm done with this car, I'm just done. So I started doing just these random keychains, right, just to see if someone would buy them. I sold them for like $10. I didn't care. I just wanted some extra money. By now, I bought like one more 3D printer, and we were just kind of selling those in random spots, right? And then I think I sold a couple of the first ones. Maybe I made like $300, but that bought.
Oh no.
It's that
Another
Michigan
printer,
cold.
which then Oh yeah. I'm sure Michigan is very angry at internet right now. It's been rough here too.
Yeah,
It's all right. You're back
we
now.
lost you for a second. Yeah, we got you good now.
So that really just the keychains really started it, right? So then I had a customer that asked me if I could make a picture of their car, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe let's figure it out. Which is kind of, as a lot of people that know me know, that's probably my response to pretty much anything when they ask me is, I don't know if I can, but we'll figure it out. And we did. I don't know. I think I sold 400 my first year of starting car chains. So that's what, 4 years ago now. By then, end of that year, I had like 10 Ender 3s on my wall. Right, they're just all over the place. And I had gotten into like signs. We were doing signs and like big signs. We were doing a bunch of dumb stuff that I probably shouldn't have gotten into, but it was fun. But that started all this. We were just literally taking pictures of people's cars, reproducing them into a keychain, and I was selling them for, now it was like $25, right?
Wow, that's cool, man.
So one day, Lance Dreger, which you guys know from R&D Fabrication, he's my local drug dealer here. He gives me all my car parts. He's like, hey, dude, this new Mahle Terminator is coming out. Can you make a mount for the screen? I'm like, in typical me, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I made this first little suction cup mount to put it up on the windshield. And that was the game. Like that started a bunch of crazy. I sold like my first 20 in like a day.
Wow. So you're like, okay, I'm on to something here.
Yeah. So that went crazy. So when then, and how we've gotten to all the things that I've gotten into now, like all the new stuff, is people just ask, and I just tell them why not, So I don't like to say no to, especially to fun projects that I know are going to be cool. So we just kept doing it. So now we're doing like the column mounts, full on dashes, full on clusters, a lot of, and so really I credit most of this to Lance, because if he had never asked me, we wouldn't be in this position. But it's gone crazy. Like we filled over 1,800 orders last year. It was way over that. It was 20.
Dude.
If we count all the other stuff, I did closer to a little over 2,500 orders last year. And it's still pretty much a one-man show. It's ridiculous here. So
and what's cool about that now, obviously that kind of triggers my entrepreneurship mindset a little bit, because like, again, it goes back to not saying no, like, oh no, we only do keychains, only, and being willing to open up to that. I'm gonna open up some. I'm gonna go into your Facebook and open up some pictures and stuff like that here in just a second. But
sure.
You were introduced to me by my brother Steven, who's making the comment here. Cory makes some super nice parts. We actually, I think, before you and I had ever met, and we're maybe even friends on Facebook, he had ordered a panel from you to mount up a Terminator X on the firewall of a C10 truck that he was building. So, like obviously through that, I was kind of helping with some of that time at that time. And dude, really nice piece. Everything fit like it should have. It was one of the strangest things to just go, oh, and it works, So
Yeah.
really good job on that. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it's been an adventure. I never expected it to be here, right? Like, when we first, I just expected to sell a couple of them, and like I've thought about changing the name now because really, we do keychains every once in a while, but I don't do a lot of them now. But now it's too late, right? Everyone knows, like the brand is established as this is what we do. But
Yeah.
like this really started as kind of a hobby, a reason for me to stop flipping wrenches because I'm just tired of being in pain. Like I'm still in pain all the time, but that's veteran thing, I guess. But it's it's funny how it happened. It was never the plan to get here. Like it was just it happened. It just worked out.
That's awesome. So
go ahead.
Do you have all these printers at your house, or do you have like a shop that you work out of, or?
So right now it's really like I built an office and like a shop in my basement to do it for now. We're currently it's still just me mostly. I am looking for a space and looking to hire a person. We'll see how it goes. It's I still have a full-time job, so that's I work for Audi of North America, so I am still busy. Sorry, my phone is dying.
Well, and I was going to say,
obviously not good at this.
Well, that's all right. Dude, you've been on the backstage for a long time, so I appreciate that. One thing that's cool is like that move from 0 to 1 is a big deal in that, because if you can keep your day job and somebody else can kind of take up some of the slack of, either boxing parts or the stuff that dude, I say it with stats. Eric hears it from me all the time, and about every phone call we talk about is just the literal hundreds of hours that I spend a year just cleaning up stats, just cleaning up spreadsheets. And so if you can have somebody just doing that easy stuff like that, that really doesn't take a lot of brain power, and you can hire someone to do that and they can do a good job at it, it makes your life better because then you can focus on really cool stuff,
Well, and you don't realize, and this was something that it took me a long time to figure out, like assembling, packaging, and shipping takes so much time. It's mind-numbing work, but it is a time suck. It just takes forever to do. And those are things like when you're just starting, like you don't know. Like when I was selling keychains, I could ship 25 keychains in 20 minutes because I'm just shoving them in my bag and putting a label on them. But it's not like, 30 packages will take 2 hours.
Yeah.
Let me pull up some of this stuff, and we'll continue to talk because people need to understand, like this that I'm trying to show you right here. This is, I mean, this is an inlay in what looks like an OBS truck. Like in the dash. Can you guys see that? Yeah.
Yep.
So this is something that literally to make this works for anybody's OBS truck. 87 or 88 to 93 or whatever, 96, whatever.
And what's funny about this one, so I'm trying to move into a lot of fuel tech stuff because I see the market shifting to fuel tech because I'm not completely sure why yet, but I'm starting to see the shift, right? So this guy called me. He had gotten a mount elsewhere, which I don't like to talk shit about any competition. I think he got a mount that he wasn't fully prepared to deal with at the time. He called me, and I was like, "Well, I can get you something. Just understand that there's a timeline." This dude, when he got this, he was so excited about it. Like he starts texting me, he's all crazy about it. It was great. This came out awesome. This is the first fuel tech OBS mount I have done.
That's awesome.
And it looks great.
Yep. And then, so we'll move now. I don't know what's going to come up, so we may get some family pictures here in a minute. This is just Cory's Facebook page, but you know, see these a lot. You know, I don't know what this panel is, but it looks like some kind of, I would say
Yeah,
80s or
that's
90s.
that is
Sorry.
early. That's like early F10, and that is actually the first S10 mount for an Aces 7-inch, the new Aces EFI systems that are coming out.
Wow.
All the CAD files. So we are.
That's so cool that then your brain
My
takes
phone's
over and
moving,
it can.
but yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Oh
So
man.
Oh
how
man,
many printers do you currently have? 25.
25.
Oh.
And what different types of material can you print? I know you can do like the basics, PLA, ABS type stuff, but
Oh,
I
okay.
know you've got some other ones that can do different materials.
Yeah, I'm doing PA12 nylon. We're doing polycarbonate infused with we're doing carbon infused polycarbonate. We're doing carbon infused PETG, carbon infused
Nice.
ABS. Those are the popular things. Other than that, I do a little bit of PETG here and there. Like that was how I started with PETG. But I make very few things out of PETG anymore. We've tried to move on to some more advanced.
Oh, is it about to die? That's funny. Yep, it gone. Well, I'll tell you. Here's one of the coolest things about Cory stuff is you can really kind of flip through, and I'm gonna be off screen here flipping through these, but I moved over to Car Chains to his Facebook page. So he was talking about some of the carbon stuff. This is literally the backside of this is what he can print. So I mean, it's just really cool to see this level of I don't know, customization that you
Yeah.
can do with different things. This here's the mount for a third gen Camaro that goes right on the side of the thing. He has a TRX. I think he had just bought that TRX right before PRI, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, he made up a keychain for himself. That's kind of neat. I like it. And
Yeah.
that's what's really cool about him being part of the brand here. Says he's going to be back in just a second.
Yeah, and you can see the dash in the background
Yep.
there, which is
Yep.
really cool. And if anybody's into 3D printers, like some of the new 3D printers that are out now, the Bamboo Labs is one that you can print with like 4 colors at one time now.
Wow.
The advancement in those it's so crazy. You can print, you know, before if I wanted to print something in multiple colors, it would have to be multiple pieces that get put together. Now, this Bamboo Lab, you can do up to 16 colors, but it'll run 4 at a time. But you
Wow.
can lay just colors on top of each other and make some really cool stuff. So the advancements that these printers have done over the years is pretty incredible. He talked about the Ender 3. That's the one that I have. It's, the perfect entry level one, but
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about something like this, and again, what I like about him being
he's
here with
back
us.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, man. Sorry, we were talking good about you behind your back. I promise.
Okay, hold on. Let me fix the sound here.
Yep. Sound is good over here. We hear you good. Like I said, one of the cool things about him doing this stuff and us, obviously, we're building a friendship here. To be honest, he
I
is
can't hear you at all.
part of the news, but it's just really cool to see, like, because we can come up with some ideas and do some stuff, especially from like the drag and drive community side. We'll have completely different ideas than maybe somebody building a street ride or somebody building a, a full on race car. Those guys need roll bar mounts where like we may be looking for a dash like this up here that's in the picture now.
Right. But even some of the roll bar mount stuff will be perfect for drag and drive because that's kind of how we started talking about this was, it's the comfort features that a race car is lacking. So you can get cup holders, you can get visors and all that kind of stuff. Now you can whatever you need that can be mounted to a roll bar, you can pretty much get.
Oh, go back one. You'll like this one, or two. 1, 2, that one. And by the way, I'm back. Sorry.
That's all right.
So that is a Holley 7-inch in a Hyundai Genesis.
What?
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember the name of his Dream Machine. That's his name. So Dream Machine is owned by a friend of mine. He specializes in Genesis LS swaps. So we made this for him. It is a super cool little business he's got going on.
Yeah, talk about a niche market, bro.
Yeah. I've made like 10 of these.
I was going to say, there's probably 10 or 15 of those in the country.
Yeah. Yep.
So when somebody comes to you with an idea for, say, this part right here, how do you go about starting to even come up with that idea to the design to what you have here on the screen?
So I innovated what I like to call like a modular dash setup, right? So I do all my dashes are kind of stacked. So I make the surround is 3D printed. Then that see that textured like ABS look. That's actually what I call like a beauty plate. So it's a plate that's bolted to that, and then I mount my screens behind that plate with a set of brackets, right? So what I do is someone will send me a dash. I send it out to my friend who owns a 3D scanner because I don't have the time to figure it out. His name is Zach Watts. He owns IPF Racing over here and he lives over in Hazel Park.
Okay.
So he does all my scan work. He sends me a working STL, and then I draw on top of it to make something that'll work.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering was with the scan portion. I wasn't sure if you were, if you were going to the junkyard and looking for, a specific dash piece, or if like customers would send them to you, or how you kind of started with that.
Yeah, I buy a lot of eBay parts too. Like if someone has a part they want, but I'll have people that don't want to send me things because they don't, it's either they're worried about it getting broken. I'll just order one on eBay. Yep. Usually that works out. I don't have time to go to a junkyard. I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one is a cool one because that's a Jeep TJ with a Holley 12.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that one came out sweet. That was a fun mount. And somehow I've become the put Holley 12-inch in everything guy. Like it's been ridiculous. People just keep, can you put a Holley 12 in this? I don't know. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, right. Wow. That's really cool. And man, what's great about that, and I really hope that it just helps grow your brand being in this entire ecosystem of stuff that we're building here, because man, it really is really cool. Because one thing we didn't show in that is like cup holders and like Eric said earlier, sun visors. I mean, that's really Eric's that's what got this whole conversation started was the sun visors.
Well, and it's funny that came up because how those came about was I had a customer. He messaged me. He has a Colorado. I wish I could remember his name. He's a super cool dude, super fast Colorado. And he was like, hey, can you make sun visors? And I'm like, okay, yeah, probably. Well, and it took me a really long time. It took me about a year of like kind of playing with a couple ideas. Wow. And then I finally came up with the setup that I did. And honestly, the first setup was just complete garbage. I thought they were super cool. We put them out of the market and I gave them to a couple guys to try them out. They just didn't work. So we revamped them and changed them, and the new ones work way better. But we went to actual clips like it would be in an OEM car, and you can put a clip on each side of the roll bar. It'll do the drivers and it'll do the driver's door, or the driver's window and the passenger window and the windshield, and then we make them in different lengths. But it was a lot of feedback from people just like, this doesn't work. So I'm like, oh, well, let's fix it.
Yeah. So here's something from back in. I mean, this is 2022. You know, I'm just digging down through your stuff. This is really cool, man.
Yeah. So that was the first design we used. I figured, almost everybody has, they're putting them on roll bars. So I'm like, let's put magnets in them. Well, the magnets were just trash. They didn't work. So we switched out those ends to clips, like actual clips, like you see in like a regular car, and they work really, really well.
Wow.
You just bolt it you just tie it to a roll cage with a hose clamp. You can do both windows, and it's got a fully articulating arm on them, so they can do, they can go a bunch of crazy positions. They're kind of a pain to adjust sometimes, but sacrifices.
I was gonna say, but it's better than nothing. Literally
nothing.
It's better than nothing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the cup holders were the same way. The same guy was like, dude, I want a cup holder in my car. I'm like, let's do it. So we did bar mounted cup holders. And now we're doing the shifter mounted cup holders. Right now we're doing them for a bunch of B&Ms. I have an M&M shifter one coming out. PPP shifters. And then, we do some floor mounted cup holders.
Do you have anything for like a TCI shifter?
I don't, but let's figure it out.
I have a TCI shifter.
I'm down. Let's do it.
I would think that's probably really close to probably your setup of like a B&M style. I think TCI and B&M use a lot of the same parts and mounting holes and things like that.
Well, and the B&M ones are cool because you still use you can use the OEM pinhole. It'll just slide in. And yeah, the B&M ones are sweet. That one I have a lot of work in, but they're cool. We have about like 3 different setups for the B&Ms. So, and those are actually made out of PA12 nylon. Like, they're super tough.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so what do you need? Just the cover piece? Is that all you would need?
Yeah, just send me a cover piece. I'll send it to my guy.
Yeah, I could ship you the one off of mine, especially this time. I don't need it at all right now, so.
Down, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm working with my same guy that does all my scanning. He also owns a billet CNC business. So he'll take the scan and he'll make some of these shifter mounted cup holders. We'll do them in billet. Well, he will. Yeah, those are pretty sweet.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Nice.
talking about.
I might have to talk to you after the show and get his information.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Down.
The scanning stuff would be perfect for some of the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think we could this whole conversation right here is really taking my brain in different directions. Well, let's kind of winding down the show because I'm sure we're going to talk on this for another 15 minutes after this. But
good.
Yeah, let's talk about the future, man. Like 25 machines running probably most of the day, I would think, or most of the night, however you work it up. But what's the future for car chains, man? What are we looking at? What are you trying to do?
Well, so as I said earlier, we're looking to expand, right? I'm looking for a building. We're looking to hire somebody. Labor is unobtainium sometimes, so we're going to see how that goes. And I'm not a super trusting person, so that's a step. That's an issue. But we're looking for space. I have fully outgrown what I can do at my house, but we want to expand. I'm actually looking into getting into some more different types of manufacturing. So some laser work. I've been watching Eric's laser work. So, I have a UV laser here I've been wanting to play with, and I just haven't had time. The other thing we want to get into is I want to get into some like SLS printing and some more resin printing so that we can make some more OEM style looking dashes. So our S197 one, the 197 one we just came out with, that one's fully resin printed. And it looks like once the guy who's test fitting it paints it, it'll probably look like it's supposed to be there. And we're
Wow, that's kind of cool. Okay.
yeah, it's got we put a plain carbon plate on it. It's made to house Fuel Tech 550 and a set of nanos in it. It is a gorgeous piece. I hate
Nice.
resin printing, but it just looks so nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the difference there? Kind of school me real
The
quick. before
the
we-
chemicals are the hardest part with those.
Well, so I do mostly what's called FDM printing, right? So it's a nozzle that goes around, it lays plastic, and it lifts and lifts and makes something. Resin printing uses resin and like a UV hardener. Well, it uses resin and a UV light, which hardens at certain layers. But its slice layers are much lower than it would be with like FDM. So like most FDM prints I do are like 0.2 millimeters, where a resin print is like 0.05, and you can go lower. So the resolution's kind of crazy.
That's where you get the smooth finish from.
Yeah, they look super nice. Yeah.
Yep. So like where it would take a little bit of time with a high grit sand or low grit, high grit sand to make the FPM or whatever you said. But okay, cool.
Yeah. And then they have SLS is like laser and dust, where it's like a tub of dust. Yeah, it's powder. And then they use a laser to harden powder. That's like a lot of OEMs use those for when they're trying to make parts for cars. So, but those are like $100,000. I'm a little far from that, but that's a goal.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, I'm really excited about what this can do, and obviously, I mean, 25 machines. You're not small. 1,800 orders in a year is not small.
No,
It's going to be really fun to see how this grows over the next 5 years, and even over the next 6 months. Because as your brand continues to kind of step off deep into this drag and drive community that we're just going to put you right out in front of, people are going to come up with really fun, interesting ideas, and I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Well, I'm down. So as I tell people, I like solving problems. That's how I got here. It's fun. It is a blast for me. I love solving issues, solving problems, fixing things, fixing issues people have. That's how I got here. I love it. It's the best part.
That's cool. Well, man, good luck on the search for somebody to come in and help, because I can't imagine how hard that would be to find. Because like you almost need somebody that's interested in that as well, but somebody that wants to help you grow your business, not somebody that wants to do their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine whose daughter comes over and helps me package every once in a while. But even then, it's still it's not enough. We need some full-time help. It's getting crazy here.
Well, I mean, think about that. Like 150 per, or if you're moving 1,800 a year, like, and you're going to do more than that this year. Let's say you go to 3,000 this year, dude. That's 250 packages a month. That's 8 packages a day minimum. Like every day, all day, shipping it out. So
I ship.
That's going to be 20.
Yeah, we're shipping right now. I know my USPS lady hates me. I feel so bad for her because I pick it up, put it on the front porch. She's got to take it out. I'm sure she just wants to light my house on fire. But but yeah, I'm shipping easy 150, 200 packages a week right now.
Wow.
Thankfully, a lot of people order. I make a lot of ecosystems, so that's what I like to call them. So I'm making ECU mounts. We're doing bulkheads. We're doing 3.5-inch mounts, and then dashes. So thankfully, a lot of people are buying these packages. So I'm shipping less things, but it's rough, man.
Buy your
USPS
person a gift card.
Yeah,
they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure I owe her all the beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say one of the other things too about that is like, let's say this dash piece that you make, that's not like a normal box. So like you're finding boxes. So it's like,
Oh yeah, it's an 18, and it's bad. It's probably bad that I know this off the top of my head, but it's an 18 by 10 by 8 box. So it's not small.
Yep. Wow. That's cool. Well, there's definitely some opportunity there. I think, once you get all that sorted, I can't imagine growing at the rate you've grown and then, doing it mainly as a one-man show is pretty impressive, man. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I don't know if that means anything to you, but
Aw. I
So-
love you too.
yeah, I'd appreciate that. Well, tell everybody where they can find you guys, and then what's the best way to get in touch if they have an idea.
So you can go to my website. It's CarChains3D.com. On Facebook, it's CarChains because CarChains3D was taken. So, and then on Instagram, it's CarChains3D. On my website is all the ways to get a hold of me. I am very attached to my phone. So if you need to get a hold of me, I will, I very rarely miss emails. But yeah, I mean that, let me know what you guys need. I am happy to help you guys out. And what you guys are doing is awesome. And that's why I'm happy to be a part of it with you.
Well, I'm really
We
excited about
appreciate
you
it.
being here. Yeah, thank you very much. And again, dude, the stuff you do, I think could work really well with this. And I hope that the folks that are watching this and the folks that will watch this later will go check out your stuff because you got a ton of really cool stuff. So, all right, well, we're gonna put you backstage. Stay with us though because I want to talk to you, and then we're gonna
Sweet.
shut the show down, and then I've got some ideas.
Okay, bye guys.
See ya.
Dude, what a great night. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel man, it was good to be back in front of these folks. It's been a couple weeks since we've been here. I did say Saturday morning we're going to be on again 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be on with the news. We're going to make that an hour. We're going to dig deep into some Drag and Drive event news because there's a lot of stuff that's been coming up. And dude, that may be one of the last times that we actually do the news before Sick Week kicks off the 2024 season. So it's going to be kind of crazy. I really think the next week before, so we'll have this Saturday's news show, and then the next Saturday I may have to skip it because we're going to be at a gymnastics competition. If my timing is right, I think that's what I think we're going to be there, and then I fly out that Sunday morning super early. So it's going to be a crazy couple weeks coming up. I'm really ready to get back on this horse. I will tell everybody I have kind of taken some time off. The last couple weeks have been a little bit stressful. We're past that now. We are full steam ahead, and I worked last night till about midnight, and man, I was tired as all get out today, but it was great. It was a good feeling to be able to work on all that kind of stuff, work on the show, work on notes, that these things take, I mean, dude, I don't know, 6-8 hours to probably write the show. And we didn't even have any slides tonight. Normally we have those and all that. So I'm really excited to be able to dig back into all the stuff and kind of this format going forward with the show and being guests and being able to dig into some stuff. It's going to be fun. And then the news, we're not doing the Howard's Cam comedy because they've moved up to a show segment. And with Car Change, we're going to have some really fun stuff with that. So that's going to be in the news, and that's going to kick off this weekend. And I don't know. I'm pumped about 2024 and what is coming. If you don't know, I'm excited. That's the word of the night. If you were playing the drinking game of the excited word, good luck.
Yeah.
You better drink some water.
Tonight was a good night. It was good, like you said, to be back on here. And, I have an Austin on here and Luke B and Cory.
Yep.
It was just a fun night. I mean, I could probably sit on here and talk to just Cory for hours about 3D printing and CAD design. So,
well, I want to give for the folks that have hung out until the end, I want to give you a secret. We're going to have Mike Galemi from Hot Rod on next week, Hot Rod Magazine. He's going to be on next week, and he's going to be making a big announcement. That's all I'm going to say. Hot Rod Magazine, Mike Galemi, is going to be on next week on the 24th, and he is going to be making a big announcement on the show. So get ready, get it on your schedule. I'll be setting that up tonight, so everybody will have plenty of time for promotion because you're not going to want to miss that episode. He may be our only guest for next week because of all the cool stuff that he has done over the years. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, and then next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.